Welcome back to Andersen Acres. We're in the kitchen again, but we're not baking today. Instead, I'm just going to explain an ingredient that I had a couple of questions about. I haven't done too much with coconut on the channel yet, but I will because I'm getting to the coconut recipes. But someone had asked me about using coconut in baking. So coconut is the white sweet meat of a fresh coconut. We all know what a coconut is. Nice big meaty ball of white flesh that is delicious when shredded or toasted. So you can get coconut in ready-to-use forms, either in cans or bags. Bags is the most common. You have flaked coconut, which is these larger, moister pieces. You can see how big those are, and it has a little bit more moisture. And you have shredded coconut. All right, shredded coconut, they're shorter and they're drier. Okay, both are viable options. They do both come sweetened typically. That's because sweetening them helps to preserve them a little bit. You're probably going to buy sweetened either way. Now, whether you use flaked or shredded, they're usually interchangeable. So if your recipe says they want flaked, but all you have in your cupboard is shredded, you can probably just use the shredded, unless the recipe specifies otherwise. So I have a coconut macaroon that I make, and I use shredded coconut. Now you can use flaked coconut in that, you just won't have quite the same appearance. You need these thinner, longer pieces that are a little bit drier in order for the cookie to turn out the way it does. But the recipe is fine with flaked coconut as well. It doesn't make that much of a difference. Now, how about using fresh coconut? Now, I live in Canada. We don't have a lot of coconuts. And even when we do get them imported, we don't get very many of them. They're not super popular. This is the way we buy our coconut. I think in the entire time I've gone to the grocery store in the last 30 years where I am, we have had coconuts that you can buy whole maybe twice in 30 years. So it doesn't really happen here. It does in other parts of Canada, but I live in the frozen tundra of nothingness. We don't have coconuts. But if you have a nice fresh coconut, can you use that instead of these bagged guys? Absolutely, and you should. If you have the ability to use fresh coconut, you need to do that because it'll just be even better. These guys are fine. This is what we have access to where I am. We don't have coconuts, but even better than either of these options is going to be a nice fresh coconut that you can smash open and shred. So if you have that fresh coconut, grab your shredder, shred it up. And I get a lot of questions about, well, these are sweetened. Okay, and they are. So do I have to somehow sweeten my shredded coconut? If you have it fresh, no. You can just shred a fresh coconut, put it in your recipe exactly as called for. So if your recipe calls for half a cup of sweetened shredded coconut, you can shred your own with a fresh coconut and use half a cup. It is one-to-one replacement, and it is preferable. So if you have fresh coconuts, don't use these bags, okay? If you don't have fresh coconuts, well, you take what you can get. Your recipes will still turn out fine with these pre-bagged coconut flakes and shreddings. That's fine. It's just if you have the option. I do recommend fresh. So how do you shred a coconut? Really, really easy. Just on your regular shredder, the same way you would shred cheese. You just get your grater out, boom, done. You shred as much as you need. You can shred, if you have fresh coconut, you can shred the entire thing and then freeze what you're not going to use. These you don't have to freeze. These are pretty much good for eternity. Okay, they're good for a very long time. So you buy a couple, you throw them in your cupboard. They last a long time. You'll use them before they ever expire. Unless you never use coconut, then you shouldn't buy them. So that's about it for coconut. There is not really a difference from brand to brand. I buy this brand because that's what's at my grocery store. There is not a difference brand to brand. It doesn't really matter. You can buy the cheapest bagged coconut you can get, or even better, try it fresh. Thanks for joining us here at Andersen Acres. We'll see you tomorrow.